In this video, you'll learn the second step on how to niche down so you can stand out to beat the competition. Hey there, Adam here from Hustle Savvy. I help solopreneurs to grow their audience and build the right digital products. If that's something you're interested in, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you won't miss a single video that I upload. Welcome to part 2 on how to niche down. Just a little bit of recap. In the previous video, we first checked out your zone of genius. We have identified a few possibilities there by listing down the different passions and competencies that you have. And I've shared with you 4 questions that can guide you and narrow the list down a little bit. So what about the next step? We're going to look at how we can measure demand and competition. Here's the thing. For continuous growth, there needs to be enough demand. And this goes to whichever niche or market that you're going to go in. You see, in the beginning, you might be very specific, but remember, eventually as you grow further, you might want to consider other options on how to diversify and keep growing your income. And you can do this in many different ways. I won't go through those topics in this video, but this is one of those steps that we need to do in order to make sure that the market you're going into is sustainable. And it ties back to your target audience, who a portion of them will be your potential customers. You see, these people, they're looking for solutions to their problems. And what most businesses do, if they were to be successful, they need to find problems to solve. And one of the best places to measure demand, in my opinion, is through keyword research. And there are a lot of tools out there, but the most basic one you can just use for free will be Google search. Here's the thing, Google is the #1 search engine. So a lot of people will type in different words, which we call keywords, into the search bar. And from there, over time, Google record these keywords, and sometimes there will be multiple keywords that are connected together to form a longer tail keyword. So it becomes almost like a longer sentence or phrase. So when you type in your main keyword, for example, how to start a business, you can then combine that keyword with other keywords. And you can use other things like tips, how to, for. These are power words that can help to form the long tail keyword that you might be interested in. And when you start putting in these keywords, Google will auto suggest how you can finish that search. So for this example, there's geographical examples, how to start a business in Malaysia, how to start a business in Shopee, which is one of the e-commerce platforms we have here, how to start a business in Sabah, which is a specific state within Malaysia itself. Pretty interesting because you have one that is country level and now it's state level. Instagram, Facebook, eBay, and I mean, the list goes on. So you should try this and key in your keywords and see what does Google suggest and what are the other keywords that form a longer tail keywords. Not only that, as you hit enter and you see the search results, you'll also see how interesting it gets when there are different blog posts, website content, maybe social media content that comes out from that search result, because this also indicates that there's a demand, because no one is going to create a blog post of something and it's suggested by Google if there's no demand for it. It's because people keep keying in those keywords that these kind of content show up. So that's something to bear in mind. The power of keywords is that they help measure demand, and the longer tail keywords can help display more specific demand. So take note of this and list them down and try and experiment with different keywords. Don't stop at one. And eventually you'll see that how these keywords must be taken from the zone of genius that you had. So the list of zone of genius, you might narrow down a few things that you're good at and you're passionate at. Find the relevant interconnected keywords and start experimenting. So my previous example is that maybe this person is good with business and he or she wants to start how to teach people how to start a business, hence why the keyword how to start a business was keyed in my example. Now, as you're discovering the different search results, you might also want to look at online communities, because these are the ones that are formed due to demand. So people will start clubs, groups, social events, because there's enough people that are, together in it. They have a common interest in that particular topic, and they're passionate enough that they're willing to show up, and they're also passionate enough that some of them become the organizers or the admins of these groups. For example, I can go into Facebook, and let's say one of my keywords that I'm testing out is video editing. I can see the list of Facebook groups that come out, and already there are different subgroups, sub-niches that are cropping up. For example, it doesn't just stop with videography or video editing. There's also a Malaysian group for video editors. There's also a different group that is job related. So they probably talk about the different freelance jobs there, the different openings in certain companies for video editing. There's also software specific or tool specific groups. For example, Filmora, that people can use to discuss about that particular software and how they can learn how to edit using that software. And the list goes on. Depending on what keyword you are using and what you're researching on, you'll find that by testing it in Facebook groups, by looking at LinkedIn groups, by looking at subreddits and all these other online forums and online communities, there might be other keywords that you find that are forming these groups. And that can help narrow down the list even further as you're trying to figure out your own niche. So your action steps will be to research your keywords and your longer tail keywords. You should join these online communities, and you'll understand why I ask you to do this in the next video. But these are all the online communities that are based on your keywords. So don't join just random ones unless you have nothing else to do. Next one will be list down those keywords, those long tail keywords, so that you can also keep track for your own easy reference. Finally, you should cross-reference all these different keywords and online communities with the list of your passion and competencies that you've done before in part 1. You will find that there are some keywords that are exactly the same, and there's some that may not be exactly the same, but they do interconnect to each other. And this is where you start to take note of them, and you start narrowing down that list, and you'll find that you're getting closer and closer to have more clarity on what your niche will be. But here's the thing. We're measuring demand right now, but there's also competition, which is the whole point of niching down, right? As you're doing your research, you might even get discouraged because, you're finding more online communities that have millions of followers, thousands of followers, and you're just starting out. You don't even have an Instagram account yet. You don't even have a Facebook group. How do you compete with these people? Well, not to worry, because competition is a good thing. It's a sign of good demand. But we'll have to be smarter on how we navigate them and how do we position ourselves so that we don't directly compete with them. And that is something that we'll explore as we move forward in this video. So we've covered your zone of genius, and we've covered the ways you can measure demand and competition using keyword research and also joining and exploring different online communities. In the next video, we're going to look at how we can investigate the different problems and the needs of the target audience that you will serve. So, what keywords are you searching for? I'm curious to know. Depending on when you're watching this video, the next part 3, will be appearing right here on the screen. If not, it'll be ready by next week, so I suggest you hit the subscribe button and that bell icon so you'll get notified when my video is ready. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.